Hello all, this is Roberto Hoyos speaking to you from Mexico, and I am part of the Markets Technology team. As you embark in creating value for our clients directly, I would say to our community in general, I have the following comments. We may strive to equate innovation with world-changing discoveries, Nobel Prize-winning discoveries or Turing Prize-winning discoveries. But if you work in InfoSec and you may want to have a hand in setting cryptographic controls, perhaps you're in architecture, you want to design a robust functional orchestration. However, not all innovation happens in the cutting edge. Our professional life as well has plenty of humbler endeavors, but that does not mean the ordinary can be overlooked. There are plenty of innovation opportunities here, and in the traditional definition, you only need two elements for innovation: novelty, that it is new, and utility, that it is useful to you and your community. Which lead us to the drawings that you see here. Complexity is not guarantee of usefulness. Let me explain. My previous manager used to say, people will prefer the simpler over the best. In other words, we may have such a sophisticated solution to a problem that it might compete against the usefulness of it. See the chart in here? In our efforts to provide the optimal solution, we run the risk of making that solution way too complex and too cumbersome to use. The real innovation is to keep it as simple as possible. Another example perhaps is when you have an innovation, perhaps a good process or a program that is mostly supported by one energetic and idiosyncratic person. But if this person leaves for whatever reason, the company or gets promoted, moves to another area, that person does not provide continuity, so you lose that part. And here's another element to consider for innovation. To be sustainable, you have to add the element of community so that it is tested, evaluated, prodded, criticized, and ultimately adopted or rejected by this community. So for instance, in 2020, one of the items in my portfolio was to reduce our risk attack surface and reduce the unsupported components of our technology stack in around 50 applications in markets and other areas. What we had were two communities, CTI, which provided the scanners, and they run on a scale the infrastructure scanners, the health checks. It was a huge undertaking. And on the other side, there was the application manager community, which had to read whatever backlog they have. And there were many opportunities for misunderstanding because the application managers, they see the singular, the specific, the server, that small remediation. The CTI guys see the whole picture. What was my innovation? Let us recall the criteria: new, useful, and community-based. The new governance model that we set up was to make these two communities talk to each other through the services of my implementation. And that had the advantage that we had the plasticity of existing processes and a way to connect them. Was it community-based? I would say it was. Bear in mind that this was in the middle of the pandemic, so we were locked inside our homes, but through the technologies, we could reach out to other people. I was fortunate enough to reach out to the team in Texas who deployed the scanners. I was fortunate enough to find champions in Costa Rica to help me read and understand what reports were about. Andres Matarrita stands out as a very helpful partner, and we are very much grateful. I was able to put that learning into use to advise 21 application managers. We didn't invent the scanning process, we didn't invent the remediation process, but we invent a way that these could interact together. So we got more bang for the buck. Was I striving to solve world hunger? No. Or get the Nobel or the Turing Prize? Not at all. It was modest, but it was better than doing it chaotically. Was it useful? I would say yes, if we judge from the data. This slide only demonstrates that in 2020, we did it for the first time. And when we did it in 2021, with the discipline of Six Sigma and this process that I mentioned, we got a faster remediation and more impact with each release. And we ultimately won Mike Whitaker's Innovation Award that year in the recycling categories. We recycled existing processes, which brings me back to the third idea, community. I amply recommend to read this post by Raul Hernandez, Director for Markets Technology in Mexico. And the core idea is we have responsibilities to our community, mindful of their needs, and engaged in the challenges as well. See, for instance, is part of the engineering excellence. This is Mark Ashton's creation. And I highlight the items that the organization believes are necessary if we want to reach an exceptional level. We need to reach beyond our immediate group, to challenge, to propose, to negotiate, to educate, and I believe this last element to be the more lasting and important element of innovation. And with this, I thank you all for your time. This was Roberto Hoyos. Have a nice day.